Hi, welcome to CenterPoint Church podcast interviews with Alexia. My name is Alexia, and we are back. I am starting a brand new series called The Church Behind the Church, where I interview people from behind the scenes and see what they do to help our church tremendously. And today we are here with Aunt Helen. Well, that's what a lot of people call you, but what is your actual name?
Helen Grumley.
Okay. But yes, so we are here with her. And just let us know what you do here at CenterPoint, what you do here behind the scenes.
Well, for the church and for the daycare and for the school are 3 different jobs that I do.
Oh, wow.
So for the school and daycare, I do the food program for them. I get in the mornings and we do breakfast with the littles or kids that are in the latchkey program. So we do offer that for them. And then at lunchtime, I cook the lunches for the school, for the daycare. And then when that's completed, there's a little bit of downtime, but then I start janitorial for the church. Oh, wow. So I do that Monday through Friday. And then I clean the classrooms and we just do what needs to be done. I do a lot of events for things, and sometimes on the weekends when we have different meetings or things like that, then I come in and do janitorial for that.
That's a lot of work.
It
wow. Is. Thank you for what you do. Mm-hmm. How long have you been working and going to CenterPoint?
Actually, I started with, it was just going to be 1 or 2 days, and I started back in 2006 in January.
Oh, wow.
The person that was running the program at that time, I worked for her. She had a catering company. She was also the accountant for the church. So she had people in working the food program, and she said, "Can you come in and see why the kids are unhappy with lunch? I just want you to help." And I was like, sure. I didn't mind. At that time, I was working at Kmart full time, so it was just something part time to do. So I started that, and then the following summer, Judy Huckle asked me to stay on and do the lunch for the summer program, and then kind of stayed after that. Mm-hmm. In 2010, Miss Carol asked me, I was looking for something for part-time. We were going through some issues, and I just needed a little bit of extra. And to me, it's always go find some work and do it, you know. So she said, I need somebody. Would you be interested in janitorial? And I'm like, well, what are the hours? Oh, it's just a little bit of part-time in the evening. I was like, okay, sure. Which actually was a blessing because little did I know that in 3 years they would close the last Kmart. I wasn't going to another Kmart. I said, no, can't do it. And at that time, Pastor Ed said, well, we'll make you full-time janitorial to keep you. So since 2010, I've been doing full-time for both pretty much. So it was, it was a blessing in a way, because if you'd asked me if I'd have been doing what I'm doing now 20 years ago, I'd have said, nope, I'm going to finish my teaching degree. I'm going to be a teacher. But, you know, sometimes just life happens, and God has bigger plans for us than we do. So that's just how I look at it.
Yeah. What is your favorite CenterPoint memory? Like any memory here that like you experienced that you're like, I will always keep in my heart forever.
Some of my best memories are of the kids, because I'm kid partial. You know, sometimes when kids only see me a little bit, they don't realize how much that I love and pray on them behind the scenes or whatever. But when I have kids that graduate from the school and then they still stop by to see me, or they start bringing their kids. So like we have a few this year that started in kindergarten that are second generation. Mm-hmm. And for me to have loved and prayed and fed their kids and then their mom, and I'll say, oh, this is your mom's favorite. And they're like, really? But I mean, it's fun to have that tie-in, because I know that if I worked out in the public, I couldn't have that connection with my daycare kids that I do and the school kids that I do, because even when I see them outside of the church, there's still that connection that I'll hear Aunt Helen being screamed from different spots, and it's kids that are either grown or, you know, even that I had in daycare that were, you know, from 6 weeks to 5, you have them. And if they don't go to the school, they still grow up and they still come to church. So to me, that has been my most favorite. And it's the thing that keeps me going, because just that connection you can make with the kids and see what they become is amazing. That's like with the kids being dedicated today. You know, it's the second generation for them. I remember when they were little. And so for me, that's my favorites.
Yeah. Well, I love that memory. What department do you most enjoy working in? Is it the babies? Is it the kids? Is it the toddlers? Wait, that's the same thing. Sorry.
Well, no, actually, the
adults.
It's different age. I really do enjoy like the toddler age, because that's when they're starting to put that little bit
like
of
3,
independence
4.
out. Yeah, they're learning to push the boundaries, and you've got to have patience, and you got to let them do it, but in a safe way. And it's just, you know, it's just that fun age where everything is so amazing. Every new thing you show them is like, wow. Even lights on a Christmas tree that change, or, you know, the basketball hoop that can go up and down. It's magic. So it's that innocence, that funness of them is my favorite. And a lot of times I always laugh, because the school will say, like my high school kids will say, well, we're your favorite class, or where were your favorite class? I'm like, yes, you're the favorite class of this year. Can't really be partial, but I enjoy once they get to teenage too. I've seen, now I've been here long enough to see 5 graduating classes from kindergarten all the way through. So that is amazing when you get to see how much they change and go through. So I do kind of end up a little partial to we laugh. They say, well, we're family lifers, because they consider it more family than a school sometimes. And that's what's, you know, the best for me.
I love that. What behind the scenes thing that you do you absolutely hate? Like, what do you do that you're like, oh my gosh, I hate doing that?
I think it would be sometimes when you have to correct kids, because there's a part of me that, like, I always tease the kids and tell them, no breaking. That's my rule. You can't break each other. We have to do it safely. Yeah. And sometimes, you know, after a while, I don't mind if they're doing something that's not safe. I'm definitely going to correct them. And I mean, there's leeways in letting kids learn their boundaries. And I think for me, the harder part is sometimes when you do have to use a little sterner voice and say, no, thank you, that's not safe. You know, so because generally I just want them to have fun, and I always want them to have the church or coming to school. When they come to daycare, I want that to be a positive. You don't want them to not like coming. You don't want them to say, oh, I hate going to church, because they're always so mean. So it's always hard trying to find that balance when you have to actually correct somebody and you really don't. In the back of your mind, you're like, oh, they're just going to not like this. So that's about the only thing.
Gotta make them feel accepted.
Well, yeah, because I don't want them to feel like they have to constantly get in trouble, that we have 500 rules that you're in the house of God and you can't do this or that. No, I just want you to be safe. I want you to come enjoy, listen if you can. And I know some kids don't have that attention span and they don't. So, you know, you get to know them. And once you get to know them, it's a lot easier. So,
yeah. Well, thank you. What is your favorite CenterPoint thing that you do? Like the one of the most enjoyable things that you do that you love?
Actually, this sounds strange, but when I clean and fill the baptism, and when it's filling up, I'll fill it up and you can hear it start filling, and there's a little bit of a water flow, but it's just like a quiet time. Sometimes when I'm fill it, I'll just go sit in the sanctuary and listen to it fill, and then sit and pray. And it just seems like to me, it's more of I'm praying for whoever's going to be baptized, that this really helps them or opens their pathway to where they need to be going, because it just seems like a big renewal for them. Because you can be baptized at any age. So, you know, whether it's a little kid being baptized or an adult that's made that choice to be baptized, just that little bit of filling that baptismal and having it ready for them so that when they come in, it's taken care of. To me, that's one of my favorite things, because that just means that's more people accepting God into their life.
Wow.
So
I love that. What is your favorite CenterPoint event that you have done? Because I know you've done so much for this community. And what is like your most favorite event that you have like set up, done, worked so hard on, that is one of your biggest accomplishments?
Well, I can't say it's my accomplishment, but it's everybody's is the Race to Grace, just because we tend to reach more of the community that way. Because a lot of times you'll just get some random people that are runners that they're just appreciative of what you do for them and having it ready and just getting to get new people in, let them see what we are, let them see an exposure of the church. We've, in that race series, we've ran different races with it. Like Karen DePatti and I have. She said, challenge me, and we've done some other races. And when you realize how different our race is from the others, how we just have more of a family feel and we reach out, I like us being able to do that for them, because then that's one of the things people take away from it.
Yeah, can you explain Race to Grace to us? So for people that haven't been to CenterPoint or just finding out about us, can they know what Race to Grace is?
Okay, Race to Grace is a fundraiser that the school and the church do. It benefits the students. We do a 5-mile 3K, or they do a 1 mile. And what we do is we just have an atmosphere open up for them to come and race. We have the church opened. They come in, they see. We do registers. We do the same path each year. It's part of the Burton Race Series, and we also provide a meal for them afterwards. So it's kind of like more of when they get done running, some of them stay and they get to talk to other members of the church, and we just try to make sure that we have some fun stuff for the kids to do. We have done in the past like a teddy trot where we just do a short run. If we have a lot of little kids that parents want them involved too, we try to make sure it's a family event and not just strictly for runners.
Yeah, last year was my first time running. I ran the 1 mile. I didn't win, but I like the determination. Like everyone, if you haven't been there, everyone is like the people that aren't running are like on the trail and they're like cheering you on all the way through. Yeah. And you know what I mean? You're running and it is, yes, a competition for like the people that like to be competitive, but I also like it's actually at the same time not competitive and everyone's just like cheering for everybody else. And I just love that about Race to Grace, how it's like nobody is trying to get past somebody. Everyone's cheering always somebody on. And I love that about Race to Grace, how you guys really just try to make sure the whole family is included with it. And it's just absolutely amazing. So.
Yeah, and we always try to be at the end, because I've been at some other races that you're the last 2 or 3 or maybe the last person to cross the line. And you're like, oh, I did it. I've worked so hard to do this. And then like we did a 1 race and there was a gentleman that he had just had a heart surgery 8 weeks prior, and he was walking it because his doctor had challenged him to. And so we just, like Karen and I walked with him so he wouldn't be the last to walk over, but kept trying to encourage him and go over with him. And just sometimes that little bit, he was going to be the last and we were going to be the last, but that was okay because we were just helping him reach a goal to get through. And so, I mean, that I think is more of the fun thing, because you never know why someone's running it. They could just be running it because a doctor challenged them, or to see if they could do that, because not everybody can even manage a mile. And sometimes even just walking that mile is huge.
Yeah, and I love at the end, everyone gets a medal, you know what I mean? Because we all did it and we accomplished something, and I love how you get a medal either way at the end.
Yeah, and we try to make sure somebody's at the end to greet you.
Oh yeah, waters, yep.
And then come on in, we'll feed you.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yes.
Nobody goes hungry around Aunt Helen. That's the goal.
Ooh, okay. So next question: where do you want to be personal-wise in 10 years?
As in work or just
personally?
Personally.
Not church-wise, not just you, Aunt Helen, in your life. Where do you want to be in 10 years?
Well, I'm hoping that I will be able to attend events that Anna Ray is at here. And that means that the school is still prospering, because we have plans for, she's my great niece, and she's only 18 months, but in 10 years, she'll be in school. So I'm hoping that we're still here so I can come and enjoy it from a aunt's point of view again, because that's how I started, actually. My niece and nephew were going to school here, too. Mm-hmm. So coming and getting the exposure that way, I just want to see her to be able to come, so that she doesn't have to be exposed to certain things out there. So, because we have her a lot. And so we just want to make sure that she's got some place to go that we know she'll be taken care of.
Yeah, I love that. So you cook, and you cook for the church, and you cook amazing things. So good. Oh my gosh, so good. But number one, what is your favorite thing to make? And what is everyone's favorite? Because I mean, for me, like I don't know, I've had a ton of things. I think everyone loves the mac and cheese.
The mac and cheese is usually the number one. It's funny because I make a different mac and cheese here than I make sometimes at home because I had a different mac and cheese. The recipe I do now is my mother-in-law's, just tweaked a little bit because it's more of a creamier. But if I'm going to do something for at home or family, it's more of a baked mac and cheese because that's how I was originally taught from my best friend's mom. So that's usually the go-to and the easiest because I always have, it's either that or no-bake cookies. For some reason, no-bake cookies are, and I always have those. I used to always put them on the salad bar for the kids. So I'll have like some kids that are coming to town. They'll say, "Hey, Helen, I'm stopping in. I'm going to be there this day. What's on the menu?" Or, "Do you got a salad bar with no bakes?" I'm like, "No, I can make you some no bakes though." So they still reach out, which is great. And so I try to make sure, but they're kind of like go-tos and easy. So because I've never had any formal training, so it's just what I've learned from family members, and then when I worked with Cheryl with the catering company, certain things that they like. So another one that they like, which is not odd, but they like, I do a sweet and sour meatball with rice, and I think it's because I do a jasmine rice, so it's a sweeter rice, because some of them will just get rice and sugar. So they look forward to that day just so they can get, that on the side. So
yeah. Well, last but certainly not least, where do you want to be church-wise in 10 years?
Still here. Still know that God's leading me in my path here and opening other doors that I could do with the kids. I like my volunteering on Sundays and some Wednesdays with the kids just because it's volunteer and then I get to be hands-on. So that's nice. So, and like I said, we would have honorary here still. So hopefully I'll have a little bit more free time so I could volunteer more on Wednesdays and less work. So it'd be a nice idea.
Because you'll probably be in girls' ministries, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you so much for all that you do here at CenterPoint. Because I know, like, we always see your work, but we never see the person behind it. And that's what this series is mainly about, just bringing the people who have shown the work. And so thank you so much. You have put so much into this church, and it's so tremendous. So thank you so much. And thank you, everyone, for watching. I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. And just thank you. So, yeah. Bye.